Cool.
Welcome, everyone. This is Adapting Non-Fantasy Sources to Legal Garb with Thumbs. This class runs until 8 p.m. This class is being recorded and will be available on YouTube at a later date. Take it away, Thumbs.
So, hello, I am Thumbs, in case you don't know me. Pardon me, I'm not technologically able, and I just realized how close I was to my screen there. This is, as he said, making Garb from non-fantasy sources. If you have any input at any time, if you have questions, if you have thoughts, please don't hesitate to talk. Don't be rude, please. Thank you. But I am kind of known in Belagarth for the few people who know me as the comic book guy. I've actually, most of my life, I have been known as the comic book guy. I mean, I am wearing garb inspired by Bishop of the X-Men as we speak. Purposeful choice, but a few years back, I was told that you can't use non-fantasy sources for garb and have it pass, and it made me so mad that it permanently changed my garb style for the rest of my career. Like, I became all about like obnoxious colors or superhero sources or anything that people are like, oh no, you can't make garb out of that. I'll show you. But it did lead me to think a lot about what you need to do garb well, even if you're, and make it look medievalish. Medievalish is a term I like a lot, even if it is not garb, or even if it's not fantasy itself. Like, we don't have to go from Lord of the Rings, but we can use a lot of the shape of, say, Lord of the Rings or Narnia or whoever to help us along our way at the same time. Hello, new person. Just in case you didn't hear it, if you have any questions, if you have input at any point, please
Hello.
hesitate to say hello and tell us what you think. So what we're going to do today is basic garb design. We won't be making anything, we will just be figuring it out. The first step of that is, there are a few things to consider here, but the first step of it is what garb pieces you're going to wear. I generally work under the idea that a complete garb kit is going to have at least 3 pieces to it. Generally not more than 5, because after that it gets more complicated, but I say that with someone with layers of like 10 pieces of garb to make the thing land sometimes. But when it's time to get out of that, it's never going back on again. In theory, you could do it with just 2, like a shirt and pants or skirt or whatever you want to go with, but it tends to look incomplete. People wear things. I mean, even think of like jeans and a t-shirt. People usually have on something more than that at the same time. Maybe an overshirt or a hat or a vest. Even in modern clothing, we tend to wear, I'll say 3 pieces. I'm not counting, underwear, shoes, whatever. Wear those. That's probably a good idea. Or don't. I'm not your boss. The most simple thing that I go with when I'm first starting someone off is shirt, pants, or skirt, again, whatever you feel like, and a hood. I'll also use a vest, a tabard, really whatever best suits you. Now, that's kind of where you start from. And then the second thing you're starting from is what character you want to go with, because that will determine what piece of bling, other thing, that they'll have. Hold on, I'm trying to think of some examples here. With Sailor Moon, I would be less likely to do like a hood, but I would have, like the tiara and maybe like what is that term? That like a stole, basically. While for Superman, I might go with, since we're assuming field legal garb here, instead of like a cloak, I would go with a hood, maybe like a hood and mantle or a hood and a vest, so you get that big flowy feel to it. With this X-Men kit, Bishop routinely wears a big scarf, so I have, the pants, the shirt, I've got the scarf on, and I have little pieces of armor just to get the whole thing going. So this leads us to our first point here of audience interaction, if anyone's got anything, of we're going to design a piece of garb based off either a superhero or a character from science fiction or something from a non-fantasy source. So if you have ideas of who you would like to have us base this off of, please toss them out now. And if you don't, I'm just going to pick one, but I'm going to give you guys a few seconds here. Here, ooh. SpongeBob. I can. Dexter's Laboratory. That's a little more. I haven't seen Dexter's Lab in freaking forever. But he just generally wore like a suit, if I remember, and a lab coat, right? White lab coat. Okay. So we are going to go. Haha. Sorry if this is hard to see. Right now, it is just outline. Over here on my side is some of the most like basic, it's just a rough stick figure of what it's going to go with. Dexter was a pretty serious guy. He took himself a pretty neat man. He was not slobby or anything. So that's going to change what it is. I'm unlikely to do just, a loose like hood and T-tunic because that wouldn't match with him. So for my base layer, let's do something like a surcoat because that is as close to formal as we're going to get. And then maybe a vest over it. We'll start with the surcoat.
Kara said, and glasses, potentially a murder mask.
Yes. Thank you for letting me know that. I cannot see this at the point. So first things first, we're going to start at the base layer. Actually, we'll go even simpler with this. His pants, he just tended to wear plain black pants. That means detail of the drawing will come in later. Right now, we're doing very rough, just outline to get the idea. For Dexter, just plain black pants. We could maybe do, just to change it up, some more kind of Roos pants look. For the tunic, all right, so if I'm doing Roos pants, maybe I want to go for a more Viking look. It's also a very simple, I say simple, it's easy to get it wrong, but a very loose. So let's do a key tunic here. Like a key neck tunic. And we are going to do, I think he wears a tie underneath, and I could be entirely wrong. So we're just going, if it's not Dexter, it's somewhat generic science man look. So we're going to do definite black here. And we'll probably, let's do something, just add in a little flavor, just a little extra. I feel like Bob Ross when I'm doing this, just some happy little flavor right there. Which
Queenie asks, his coat buttons on the side, possibly trimmed down the left breast? Question mark.
Oh, so he has a
lab coat. Like
this kind of lab coat.
Yeah.
Like, okay. Cool. I am apparently remembering Dexter super wrong, but that's fair. I doubt I've seen it in 20 years. Okay, we can still work with that pretty easily. So top layer, like, you know.
You're good, Queenie. She's so sorry.
No, please speak up. Let me know on stuff. I probably should have gone, no, we're going to pick someone I actually know better, but I like Dexter, so let's go with it. All right, if that's the case, we are going to admit that I was wrong here, and we're going to simplify a little bit. Instead of this, let's do more of a surcoat look, but we'll make it more of an actual thing. So surcoat is going to go, let's say, down here. I still want it open a ways. Let's give him a collar. That's a pretty formal thing. Thank you for not making me do SpongeBob. I have never been a fan, so I would not have done a great. I mean, I could have tried it, but I wouldn't have done a great job. We're going to have it go over this way. We're going to have it trace down something like that. I think we will give him. Sorry, I tend to move that, and it's not the best move to make while I do stuff. We'll give him a big belt of some kind. It would be easy enough to make this an armor legal belt if the choice upon us. I'm gonna put some black there. Let's see. Let's give this some black trim going along here. It is going to be long sleeve, I am sure. Like a short sleeve lab coat sounds insane to me. We'll put some.
So Thumbs, could you explain some of your decision-making processes? Like,
Yes, of course. I'm sorry. I am not used to drawing while people are
No,
talking. I
you're
just started
good.
getting into it. So, go ahead.
like my main thing and like how are you choosing what trim and where to place it, and is
Okay.
it
So, first things first, we wanted a lab coat kind of thing. So I ended up going with just kind of a big flowy jacket instead, just because a straight up lab coat would look kind of weird. If we're going with kind of a more formal thing, Dexter was a very like uptight figure. Something like a collar is going to look good. Collars just kind of scream formal to people unless they're really uneven, and even then you just look like sloppy formal. Long sleeves, because again, a coat or a lab coat. Nope, that doesn't look great. A lab coat with short sleeves sounds really weird. And it is going to be mostly white just because you want to continue as much as possible to keep some of that kind of lab coat scientist feel. But I am not a fan of hugely white because you get lost like you get lost in the large blank space. So adding extra details is nice. As went with a belt because one, it just kind of can fit in with some of the like mad scientist look, and two, I like belts with really long things like surcoats or a long jacket that you're going to keep closed with this, because again, it helps break up all of the space. I went with a very thick belt here just because it felt, again, a little more serious formal than, say, a hemp belt like I tend to do. A lot of my design work comes from I learned drawing through comic books. So I tend to go with not very complicated trim because I come from the school of thought of I have to be able to replicate this on multiple panels a page on 30 pages of comic. So the more times I draw it, the more like the easier it is, the better. This also works for me because if we are being honest, I am a very lazy seamster. I don't know, sewer. So simple is better. It also lets us keep the feel without getting too stuck into the detail. So since this has this like to the side line and then down like this, and I really like the shape of that, adding in some, it could be any color we want it to be, but we'll go with, say, black here, will give you that feel without being, again, overwhelming. But because we have this here, it's going to have to go elsewhere. If it's only right there, it's going to feel weird. So we move it up into the collar here, as we've done. Instead of having it take up the entire collar, it's just getting skinnier and following the lining in the same way that it's done elsewhere. So basically, it's starting here, going up, around, down, and then across and over. Same thing. Once it gets down here, if we just ended it like this, like you could, but it would look strange. It's already got this whole flow, so it's continuing along the bottom. I'm going a little thicker here because I'm giving it a more defined edge, and since it's a larger area, I can go thicker as opposed to the collar up here where a really thick one would just take up the whole collar. I decided, and it's fun because I didn't even consciously think too much about some of these decisions. I decided not to follow it up on this side, although it would be a perfectly practical thing to do if I did decide to go that way, because I want to continue this feel of this front down. I want this line to be really strong. So by not having it on this side, it's letting that single piece pop much more. We are likely going to have pretty strong sleeves, or not sleeves, shoulders. So you're going to have a definite defined area here because this is almost looking military instead of lab coat, but the same idea applies. We're going very strong, thick lines. It would make sense that this part is going to be crisp. If I was going for military, I might even put some decoration right there, but since it's lab coat, less likely. Bam. Check again, see how I think about the Roos pants. I think I like them still. Moving along. Just from a drawing thing, as we are going along and sketching it out, the shape and character is starting to develop. Now I'm saying Roos pants. I honestly don't know Viking stuff overly well, so I have no idea if this is accurate. Now, since we're going for a scientist, let's add in some flavor. Also, at the same time, when you're thinking fantasy, what are some what are some, D&D equivalents of like a scientist or a Lord of the Rings? Like, because you don't tend to think of, Professor Dexter, but a wizard might apply a little bit here. Instead of science tends to do magic. So if we wanted to, we could add in a little bit of science or magic flavoring to it. I think I am going to make this guy a spearman, which sometimes that can be a thing to consider when going from non-fantasy source of what weapon are you going to be used, assuming you're using a weapon even. I'm going to go with spearman because when I said magic user, I thought of a I'm sorry, I had a brain fart there. I thought of a staff. Okay. What is something that you can kind of hold as a staff in Belegarth? You end up with a spear. If I was doing a more of a bruiser character, or say if I was red fighting, I'd be more likely to look for a bruiser character than something more formal like this. This arm is a little funky, but I can fix that a little later. It's also not super important for what we're doing.
Queenie suggested a potion bottle rock.
Ooh, that's a good one. I like that. Let's put that here. How do I want to draw a potion bottle rock? I will fix the hand up so it looks like a hand later, but sure. It's going to mostly just look like a bottle right there. We could also put some on the belt. Instead of a potion bottle, if we're going to continue the science theme, since we're finding a balance between the two, let's do more of, well, you're a professor, you might actually know the answer to that, more of, or Leda, sorry, what do they call those? They're not beakers, are they, that have the really like almost
Oh, the like narrow.
narrow at the top and then like
Yeah, I know what you're talking of. I don't think it's a beaker. I will ask.
Queenie says yes, they are beakers.
Really?
Oh, cool.
Okay, thank you, Queenie.
Okay. Thank you, Queenie. So go with more of a beaker look here. Now, these would probably be they could either be rocks or just something that definitely don't take them on the field with you, because bling doesn't always be something that you take with you. Like I have extras on a lot of Garb sets that I'm going to take off before I go on the field, just because things are breakable. Add those there. Let's see. Let's put a personal symbol on him here, and let's go with, to keep the science theme up, I'm not sciencey. I don't know why I'm letting myself do this. That's what, an atom that has the neutrons floating around it, the positive and negative.
Yeah. Yes.
Can you tell I haven't been to school in decades? And I went to art school when I did. I dropped out, but that was a money thing. Would probably tweak that. You know what? I'm not sure that I like that. I like the idea, but I'm not sure that atom is where I want to go with. Let's do a planet instead. That gives a more sci-fi look. If I'm ever doing a generic planet, I do Saturn. It's the easiest to tell, oh, that's supposed to be a planet. And the rings look cool. I have always loved drawing planets with rings. So moving on to the headpiece, I'm going to test this real quick. I'm not sure if this is going to work. Part of designing, I define designing a lot as throw everything at the wall, keep what you want, and then once you have the idea, pare it down to reality. I think it's much more interesting to see what would be fun and then translate it to what you can do than to start being too limited on oh well, this is how it works and stuff. So we make mistakes, and that's what the eraser is for. So let's do a wizard hat. I'm not sure that I like that, but I like the idea of a hat of some kind. Let's go a little simpler. Maybe some kind of front thing here still. I'm trying to think of who's that character? He was played by one of the former Doctor Who doctors in The Hobbit, Radagast. Yes, Radagast the Brown. He had that kind of like thing up hat, which there's some kind of Russian hats that work with that. But we're losing in this some of the wizard science look. So maybe if we give it still kind of a long, nope, I'm not feeling that. I am not. See, we make mistakes. We erase. We usually have a nicer eraser with us, but I still have not finished unpacking the house. We moved in about a month and a half ago, but we haven't finished out clearing. It was Cece's grandma's house, and we haven't finished clearing everything out yet. He definitely needs something on the head, though. Maybe I did like that wizard hat. It's a thing that you wouldn't wear on the field, most likely, but that doesn't always matter. I almost splayed at the end. I have a tendency to make wizard hats very patchy, very kind of rumpled and stuff, but with the way we are going here science-wise, that may not be the way to go. Let's add, what do you think? More stars or maybe some stars or maybe some more planets on the hat? Like I feel like I don't want to go too much Sorcerer's Apprentice, but a blank wizard hat never feels right to me.
Planets, I think, would keep it farther away from Wizard's Apprentice.
All right, let's do another Saturn here. Maybe moon. We'll do another big planet here, kind of getting that idea across. We have definitely moved away from Dexter here, but I'm almost feeling like Bill Nye or Miss Frizzle feel to this, if that makes any sense. Like we're going a little more like kooky scientist than Dexter himself. We could still do goggles though. I mean, I know plenty of people who wear goggles on the field. It's not nearly as popular as it was about 10 years ago, but it happens. And we will do a murder mask because everyone's wearing masks these days, and if you're not, you should be. It's kind of a dark place to take that, but still.
Queenie says they are their own beautiful thing.
That's perfectly fine too. There are a lot of things that I have just kind of gone with. I want to look like a, superhero, but I wasn't going specifically for like I want to look like Superman, like my knight's garb that I got, or one of my favorite kits. I based it off of the animal, the mantis shrimp, which you should look like a psychopathic killer clown, and it's some of the best stuff I've ever made. It's not, this is Spider-Man, but it is still definitely drawing from non-fantasy sources into a thing. I don't know why I'm making that look more like a cowboy hat. I always think of drawing, especially if I don't know what I'm drawing when I first start, as kind of like, this might sound insane, kind of like carving. Like you are taking some lines and you're kind of carving out what this will be in the end, and it comes more into focus with each little cut, except instead of cutting things away, you're adding things to it. So with this kind of magic spaceman garb set we're doing here and this murder mask, do we want to have, is this keeping as a pretty basic murder mask? Do we want to have designs on it? What are we feeling here? Maybe a planet or more stars. I want to make it asymmetrical for some reason, and I'm not 100% sure why. But let's put breathing, I say holes, but I'm making big lines on this side, and let's put
Queenie says his glasses have sharp, jagged shine lines, maybe magic bolts? Question mark.
So like a lightning bolt maybe? Here, that's fun thing about setting this up. Since this isn't super serious, this is just design paper. This is nicer design paper than I usually use, but whatever. You get the rough idea of the shape there, the breathing holes or lines or whatever they are on that side. So on one hand, we have a lightning bolt, which is a thing I use a lot, so it could work pretty well. Or alternatively, we could do kind of there's this thing, it's kind of a star shape that has kind of become a catch-all superhero symbol. Captain Marvel uses it. I think some of the Guardians of the Galaxy use it. It's just kind of a Or we could just do Saturn again. I'm worried about repeating this too often, but I don't have it too much, and I'm spacing it out across. So let's try that first. And if it doesn't work, we'll go with the lightning bolt, since that's been I have clearly given up on not moving the paper. It's just part of it is I am left-handed. As you can see, I get crap all over my hands, and it's unavoidable. It is just going to happen. And part of the reason I move the paper around as much as I do is to limit that smear, so it's mostly happening on my hand as opposed to going all across the paper.
Anish says, I feel this pain. Alina feels this pain, also left-handed. Digital painting has its advantages, says Master Anish.
I am getting a really, really nice drawing tablet soon. It's used, but its original cost was like $3,000, and a friend is giving it to me.
Wow.
I'm making her a helm, but it's still like the most expensive like armor I've ever made someone, based off the price of it. But I am just so excited.
That does sound exciting.
Mm.
Tethian says,
Yeah.
nice.
Hey, Tathian. 4 people jumping in. If you have anything you want to say, she is very kindly translating. But if you want to just yo what up, feel free to yo what up me. I'm gonna go with lightning bolt. Someone already suggested it. Hi, Shorty. Sorry, that's my cat. Shorty, come say hello. Yep. I know. This is a short round. She's probably mad at me now. Okay, you're free. I haven't had a cat very long. I'm very excited about it.
Tethian says, you and lightning bolts. Since when? Question mark. Also, aw, kitty. The lightning bolt is part of Dexter's look that we've established, right?
The original start for this was Dexter's lab, and it evolved pretty dramatically into just let's translate scientist into wizard. Yes, hello, Shorty. You're very loud.
LOL.
Yes, hi. She's just gonna go. I'm sorry. You're gonna hear cat noises. There's nothing to be done about it. Hi, buddy. She's worse than this too. I don't know how much of that you can hear. When she decides that it is time for us to be awake, which is at about 7 in the morning, which is fine. That's 2 hours later than I get up during my work week. Lightning bolt here. I keep meaning to finish making a storm elemental garb. So even though I designed this for kind of mad scientist look here, maybe I'll steal it for that when the time comes. I do like making pieces of garb that even if they're designed for a specific thing, can be mixed in with other parts of other kits and still look good. One, because I'll just get bored and make something and be like, all right, what am I doing with this now? And two, because I'm lazy, if we're being honest. I mean, those Stygians who are here aren't surprised by that at all. And so making sure everything is put together right can be really annoying to me when I can just mix and match.
Yeah. Tethian says, Shorty's meow sounds a little like the lizard people in Zelda Ocarina of Time.
You know what? You're not terribly wrong. Yes, hi, short round. I'm not going to stop drawing for you. I know I'm one of history's greatest monsters. I would just kick her out, but we don't actually have a door to this room. It's just a... Ow, you have claws, yes. It's just a kind of loft. So I would just throw her downstairs and she would just wander back up the stairs. Like there's nothing to keep her out.
Yes, kitty, we hear you.
Oh yeah, she ain't gonna stop. You know, okay. How much time do I have left? I have about 15
You
minutes.
have 15 minutes.
Okay, so we're going to make some quick changes here as I'm looking at this. One, if you look up here with my basic original cut of the lab coat, okay, that is too far. It goes much lower down than I have here. And while I don't dislike this look, we're losing some of the coat look. So let's literally just add God, I wish I knew where my good erasers were. We're literally just adding like a foot of coat there. And because we added that, we'll go even a little bigger on the bottom. Shorty, you are making this very difficult to draw sitting in my lap while we're doing this. Yes, you're still adorable. Yes, I still love you. Please stop using your claws. It's remarkable how blasé I have gotten about this little monster needing my leg with her sharp claws. And so at this point, we are not seeing much of the pants. They're probably going to be a pretty basic black as well. And I feel like we're still missing something. I think, yeah, I think I want to try and simulate like really thick lab gloves. Like, again, classic mad science look. I do like having a small little guy up here just so I can get the most basic across. You can see right here where I was, turning my hand black. All of that is going to have to be erased later. I think I'll probably finish this up as a nicer piece. Just, I have the paper, why not? So what would be the best way to do that? I could just turn it black or have those kind of sleeves that are similar to Bruce pants where they're tied up. But I think because I'm an armor maker, let's go a little simpler here and just...
Queenie says he does have purple lab gloves.
Okay, so they can be purple or black or whichever color you want. God, it's been a long time since I've watched Dexter, which is why I quickly abandoned the Dexter part. But I'm going to turn that into...
Oh, and Anish said, "Ah, the bargain all cat owners make. I love you. Please stop hurting me."
Yeah. Let's turn these into pauldrons. It's kind of a weird angle I have set up here. We'll put some very basic detail on the pauldrons. We'll have them be black on the outside, and we'll keep this part, if it were to be colored in, we'll go purple. And just for funsies, let's add some armor bits. I'm not sure if I'm going to like this, but we'll try it. Just directly onto the coat. Shorty, why are you such a monster? Ow, Shorty, ow. Thank you to my co-host, Short Round, Torturer, who is purring and desperately wants my attention. And has decided that I can draw. Well, she's being nice with the camera now, but
You have
Almost.
about 10 minutes.
Cool. I am almost done here. I am just. Sometimes it's the hardest part of, do I need a little more here? Do I want a little? And at this point, we're starting to reach into the just drawing detail, which I don't have to do, but I'm going to just because I enjoy drawing. What do you guys think? A little, keep some of that armor on the side, or I don't think I'm feeling it. I think just the bracers down below, but I don't mind. I was wondering, like, maybe a line down there. I don't know. I feel like I am missing something right here, but I am also reaching that point.
Yeah, Tethia says the armor makes it go a bit from science to military feel.
Yep, he's 100% right. There is a very hard line with designing. Please, not on the camera. There is a hard line on designing where you cross over from like, oh, this is nice, or oh, this needs something, to you are just putting too many gewgaws on. And there is a time and place for too many gewgaws. But again, we're going for kind of sciencey magic guy here. And with too many gewgaws, you're going to lose that. I'm going to shift that over just a little bit. Looking at that where it was sitting, that would be, I kind of want it over his heart, but I had that up like almost up to where his armpit would be in reality, which is not. Armpit planet's not what I'm feeling here. And I think I'm going to do big buttons. I don't do buttons on Garb very often, partly because I'm extremely lazy. But this isn't something that you would be able to just tie shut. And if I did 2 buttons, which is the other thing that I'm tempted to do when I do these, that would again pull it into military. We're also not going for overly subtle here, so the big flashy buttons, the big whatever buttons. Now, question for you guys. I'm not going to color this on here, but I will color this and post it up where people can find it. What colors do we want this guy to be? Do we want to stick with the big white lab coat kind of thing? Do we want to go with more maybe like a light blue or a purple? We could even do, red with black is almost more of a like. Didn't Dr. Evil end up going that way at the end of Sing Along Blog? God, that's something I haven't thought about in a long time.
Yeah, his closing scene lab coat was red, like a very dark, almost
Like
purple.
crimson.
Queenie says he reminds me of Tesla's Space Witch, so maybe purple.
I don't know what Tesla Space Witch is, but sure, I like that. I'm thinking like a light purple. Something to still keep that like white feel, but not be tied to it. Part of that is, especially someone who has been a squire, I really despise white garb because it's impossible to keep it clean, especially something. This isn't something I would automatically think field design for, but definitely could see it going that way. Just gonna put some.
You have 5 minutes.
Cool. I think we are pretty much done, unless anyone has any last ideas here that they would like to. Ideas, questions. This wasn't so much a class as like, let's pick something and I'll show you my process as I go through. As a learn by doing kind of person, watching someone do can be very helpful for me. This is an old school spear, and I don't know why I chose to do that. Let's do it. Just looks like an eraser. He's just carrying a giant eraser now. Okay, I'm gonna roll with.
Says nothing wrong with that.
You know what? Yeah, let's own this. This is a spear that looks like a pencil. Which I now sort of want to make because I'm a bad person.
The Mad Science Mage. This is something you could 100% wear on the field. None of it came from, like I mentioned Lord of the Rings, kind of some of the style and shape came up. You can see it along here. You can see it in the fact that he's wearing bits of armor. He's got a very, D&D, still a little Wizard's Apprentice, but not entirely hat to it. But it is also very clearly science, not classic fantasy, all mixed together. The only thing I might change if I were to do this in person is I would probably not do the goggles, because I'm not a big fan of wearing goggles in person. But the detail of that is just entirely apocryphal and personal. I guess that's my class for today. Thanks for coming. I'm dropping stuff. I'm a great teacher. And if you join us tomorrow at a time that I'm sure Alina has that she can tell me, because I don't remember, it's like 4 o'clock my time, so 3 o'clock your time?
Yeah, I'll be posting tomorrow's schedule in the class announcements after Carps's class. So about 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I'll be posting tomorrow's classes.
Cool. I will be making that murder mask. I really hope this camera's pointing at that murder mask. I can't tell right now. Is. Perfect. I will be making as close as possible that murder mask. So if you want to see that come together, please do.
All right. Thank you very much, Thumbs. And that was a great class. If you could post that final picture in the Arts and Sciences channel on the BFTR Discord, we would love to see the colored version.
Perfect.
All right. Coming up next is Analyzing Swords and Boards with Squire Carps at about 8:05 Pacific Standard Time. See you later.